dear participants of the forum Reopen Zakarpattia. My name is Pavlo Velychko. I'm a military officer of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. I came directly from the battlefield from Sumy region, where my friends are still fighting for Ukraine. I was hesitant whether I should go to this event because I understand that my presence at the battlefield is more important than discussions, even in such distinguished and highly respectful audience. But I understood that I have been working a lot in order to become a member of this community that is taking care of building new Ukraine. When Euromaidan started, I was 16 years old. I was a school person and was trying to understand who I am. But the revolution of dignity actually was the one that shaped my outlook and the outlook of my generation. And I understood it was time to make Ukraine really European. And I entered the law faculty, and I thought it was my contribution to the new Ukraine. And this legal education and my civil career was actually at the background because the full-scale invasion started and I joined the army on the very first day. I'm in the military uniform for almost 3 years, and at that time I managed to get one more education, military education. And I usually, whatever I do with high quality, and therefore I try to develop and to grow professionally even in the army. And I try to do whatever possible to respect military values. All my youth years is a turbulent epoch for the entire country and for the entire generation I belong to. This war taught me to value every day as if it were the last day, because the next day may not come. So I understand that it was an important step for me to come here, and it was an important obligation for me to tell you about the ideas of my friends who are on the battlefield, because the voices of the military people should be with us all the time. I don't know what mood you're in now, particularly our foreign guests, but I think we can honestly tell each other that it is definitely a very complicated period for Ukraine, period in the battlefield, period of tragedies and military tests. The full-scale war is running for the 3 years and exhausts the army. And we also hear very often voices in the society which are very gloomy and uncertain about tomorrow. However, apart from the attacks of the Russians in all the areas, difficult situation with mobilization, and despite some pessimistic forecast, the Ukrainian army is the only guarantee of the future of Ukraine as the state and the stability of Europe entirely. Against the wishes of the Kremlin to do demilitarization of Ukraine, but actually it happened vice versa. Now Ukraine is a military nation, and this military might is crystallizing is on the battlefield. We are fighting for every piece of our land. We are fighting for the physical survival of our country and our state. At the same time, in my opinion, the army is believes in its ability to fight. We pay very big price for what we do, and I'm still optimistic, and I do not see any other variants of fighting against Russia, but actually defeating Russia. And it is impossible without strong Ukrainian army. And this requires everyday efforts of all of us, including our partners. And I will probably call them our military allies, the members of the Free Coalition of the West against the Russian aggressor and its allies, Iran, Belarus, and also the North Korea. Ukrainian army is the key guarantor of Euro-Atlantic integration of Ukraine. This is the element that has given us agency and influence at the international arena. In future, I see that our country will be a forepost of Europe, and it will be the foundation of European defense against Russia. It will be the guarantor of security on the European continent, irrespective of the position of the US. Definitely. While talking to you right now, I remember the necessity to do our home task, the home task we are going to discuss today and tomorrow. This is the home task on all the drawbacks of our state. And we have to build resilient and stable institutions. We have to ensure the rule of law, zero tolerance to corruption, zero tolerance to different types of offenses. And we should definitely apply mature approaches to good governance, to integrity, etc. All these processes should come in parallel to political issues regarding our membership in the European family. Starting with 2014, our desire to become part of the European community required lots of lives of the best representatives of our nations, and lots of them were actually volunteers, believing in the highest value, freedom. They were ready to fight for democracy and for freedom. And this proves our civilization choice. Therefore, my speech today is entitled Choice. Today, we really are in a very difficult and uncertain situation. We are exhausted by the war. We probably feel lonely in this tragedy. And as a result, there is some destruction and division in the society. There is a gap between the army and the people at the background and in the rear. And very often it is fueled by the propaganda and special operations of our enemy. Now, when winter is coming and we are not sure about long-term support of our long-term partners, we have to remember a very trivial truth. We should rely on ourselves. This is our foundation. This is our basis. If we do not believe in ourselves, nobody will believe in us. If we do not support ourselves, we will not get support from anybody. This is our country. We have to fight for it. We have to build it. What we risk today is losing support inside ourselves. The army is protecting the society, but the society has to support the army because we are indispensable part of our national resilience. If this connection is broken, we risk again losing our state. We all remember our history. 3 years ago, I was a young lawyer and I made my choice, and I'm wearing a military uniform now, and I'm standing in front of you in this military uniform, and I want to give you the words of my friends on the battlefield. Ukrainian army is strong. But the military people who are watching the situation in the rear, who are watching the situation in the society, ask a question: whether the society will be resilient, whether the society is ready for the long-term fight. And we are afraid of having the situation that we'll lose the situation in the front line just because we'll lose the situation in the rear. And therefore, we have to make our everyday choice. We have to donate more, to volunteer more. We have to work more. And I do hope that this choice will also be related to mobilization to the army. And these small choices every day form the future of Ukraine. Our victory starts with the small steps taken together. 10 years ago, the Ukrainians have made their choice to be part of the United Europe. Now we are fighting for this choice on the battlefield. Imagine, we are fighting for 10 years. So let's remember this long way, and let's remember this extremely high price that we have already paid and we are still paying. We definitely want it to be for something valuable. Today in Zakarpattia, we are in the most remote area of Ukraine, remote from the battlefield. Geopolitics is important. Economy is important. Everything is important. But again, on the basis of my own example, I may say that you may simplify your everyday choice on the way to victory. And you may do something very simple. You may take into account human morale. You may take into account your dignity and your responsibility to our future generations, to your own kids. We have to be ready for responsibility. We should not shift these difficulties to the shoulders of our future generations. We should not turn our backs to these difficulties. This is something we should remember. Mature adult approaches to resolving complicated issues, because complicated issues require difficult solutions and everyday work. And though it may seem difficult, you should make a choice that you will be proud of. The army is already proud of itself. And we definitely do not want to have the situation that the society has something to be ashamed of in the rear, because we are fighting for this society. We are fighting for our European civilization and Euro-Atlantic choice. We should not be afraid of weakness. We have to be strong. Thank you for your attention, and glory to Ukraine.